What is going on, guys? Mikey P here, and I am back with the 14th edition of the D&M show. Dom wasn't able to join us today. We had some scheduling complications. But as always, I'm going to look back at the results from last week and tell you why I think the said team in each matchup is going to win this week. So looking back at last week's results was a pretty good week for both Dom and myself. He went 10-5, I went 11-4, and we are once again tied at 113-77. So these final 4 weeks are going to be very crucial to the end total for the regular season. We have 4 games that differ this week, and while even if one of us got all 4 right, it won't give us a huge lead. It could be very crucial to what that final number is come week 17. So let's get right into the picks for this week. Thursday night football, we got a great matchup with the 10-2 Oakland Raiders going to Kansas City to take on the 9-3 Chiefs. And I'm going to go against what I've been saying all year. At the beginning of the season, if you've been listening that long, you would know I had the Oakland Raiders winning the West. And while I still think they are I shouldn't say great, but they are one of the better teams in the AFC, I think the Chiefs are too hot for the Oakland Raiders to stop right now. This is going to be a great matchup, do not get me wrong. But we're going to see one of the best offenses in the league go up against one of the top defenses in the league. And I just think Kansas City is way too hot to stop right now. I think this defense has what it takes to keep Oakland's offense in check. And if it's anything like it went last week, I do believe that in the closing minutes of the fourth quarter, Kansas City's defense is going to make the play to just give them the edge. It's going to be a close game. They're just going to slip by the Oakland Raiders to win and to take first place for at least the week of the AFC West. Dom, on the other hand, has the Raiders taking a 2-game lead. Next up, we got the 7-5 Steelers taking on the 6-6 Buffalo Bills. Me and Dom both have Pittsburgh. Dom has Pittsburgh because they're the better team, clearly. I only have Pittsburgh because I cannot find any way in hell that I could give this game to Buffalo. And trust me, I was looking for every way I could. After the shit show the Giants put on in Pittsburgh last week, I just don't want to root for the Steelers. Not that not that I have anything against that franchise, just because I'm a salty fan. But you gotta look at it this way. Yeah, the Bills have a top 10 passing defense, but they're going up against a top 10 passing offense. And anytime the Bills have played a quarterback who is a top quarterback this year, they've gotten destroyed. Look at what Derek Carr and Tom Brady have done. If you look at the offensive side of the ball for the Bills, they have you could say a top-ranked rushing attack going against a low-ranked rushing defense, but that doesn't do anything for you when you got a quarterback who can't help you in the air. And then you got to look at it as the Steelers have done a great job of bending, not breaking this season. While you can argue last week that the Steelers actually had a good defensive game, the refs helped them out, or even Eli Manning helped them out, whatever you want to argue, any of that momentum they had from that game, you got to think is going to carry over against a Bills team into Week 14 for them to stay close in that AFC North race. It's by no means going to be a blowout, but it's easily going to go to the Steelers. This is probably going to be one of the best games in my opinion this week. You got an 8-4 Broncos team traveling to Tennessee to take on the 6-6 Titans. These are both teams that are fighting to stay alive in the playoff race right now. And you're going to see one of the better offensives in this league go against one of the better defenses in this league. And it's something that's going to go down to the wire, I believe. Dom has the Tennessee Titans winning this game. If Trevor Siemian starts, I have the Broncos winning this game. If he doesn't, I don't think the Broncos stand a chance. Mariota is going to make some plays against the Broncos. And DeMarco Murray is going to get his usual yardage that he gets every game. So you're gonna see a good effort put out by this offense in Tennessee. The problem is, this is really the only problem for me in this game. If Trevor Siemian doesn't play, I don't think Paxton Lynch is prepared enough and NFL ready to win. It doesn't matter what it is. You know, playing Jacksonville, that's one thing. You're playing a team that's 6-6, who's better than what their record shows, and they are. I think everyone in that division is 6-6 besides the Jaguars. They're all tied for first place. They're all fighting for the AFC South crown. So expect effort to be put out by Tennessee. I think if Lynch is the starter, I love Lynch. Don't get me wrong. He is my Madden quarterback. All right, I love the guy. But if Lynch is starting, I think Tennessee Titans are going to take advantage of him being unprepared. And that's how they're going to stay in the AFC South race. Next up, we got another divisional showdown with the Washington Redskins traveling to Philly to take on the Eagles. And if this was earlier in the season, me and Dom probably would have both picked the Eagles, even though we hate it, just because of where we live and the fans around here and all the hype about Pennsylvania. But it's a tale of two seasons for that team. The Redskins, who have been playing better football as of late, just look like a team that doesn't want to be denied. They just got kicked out of the 6th seed of the NFC playoff picture. So look for them to be putting up a fight to get back into it. You look at the Eagles. Earlier in the year, they looked like they were going to be battling for a playoff spot, and now they just look like a team that's ready to throw in the towel on what could have been a 2016 campaign. Carson Wentz is struggling. They just got absolutely whooped by the Bengals last week, and that's an A.J. Greenless Bengals team. All right, let's make that clear. I think maybe it's a divisional game, so it's going to be close, but I think by the 4th, Dom will probably back me up on this, the Redskins are going to pull away by the 4th and take control of the game. Next up, we got the Arizona Cardinals traveling to Miami to take on the Dolphins, and the Dolphins came down to reality last week, getting completely crushed by the Ravens, who, in my opinion, are a pretty underrated team this year. But, you know, Joe Flacco still is an elite, so take that as you will. Last week, we saw Arizona play spoiler to Washington Redskins, taking them out of the NFC picture. For now, they're in the hunt still, but that's what they're going to play this week. While Miami isn't completely out of the playoff picture yet, another loss is really going to hurt their playoff chances. And that's where it comes in. Miami isn't consistent. Arizona's record does not show how good of a team they are. I mean, we're talking about a team that was a Super Bowl favorite for the NFC. So you got to remember they're still looking. They're 5-6-1. They're still looking to make the playoffs, and it's not completely out of the question, but winning out would really help them, and Miami's in their way this week. We both have Arizona winning this. I don't see how Miami's going to pull anything off, really. I mean, you barely escaped the hands of the 49ers 2 weeks ago. How you expect to beat a team who can actually play? Next up, we got the Minnesota Vikings at the Jacksonville Jaguars, and me and Dom both have the Minnesota Vikings winning this game, and it's a little sad when you think about it. I had Jacksonville competing, at least, in the AFC South this year, not sporting a 2-10 record at this point, but shit happens. If the Vikings want any chance of making the playoffs, they need to start winning, and this is the week to get that going easily. You got an incompetent offense in Jacksonville with a quarterback who's taken a huge step backwards in his third year, and he can't protect the ball. flip the script over to Minnesota, their offense isn't anything spectacular either, but at least Sam Bradford can take care of the ball a little bit. Looking at the defensive, Jaguars have a pretty nice defense, but Minnesota has the edge there too. I think this is going to be a bigger game of defenses, but as long as Minnesota can limit their own mistakes and that defense can force Bortles into making some of his own, which he usually does, I don't see how Minnesota doesn't win this game. Next up, we got Houston at Indianapolis, and I think it's about time we finally start taking Indianapolis serious again. They've won 3 of their last 4 games. Andrew Luck and the Colts completely destroyed the Jets on Monday Night Football, even though that's not saying much because the Jets are complete garbage this year, but it still happened. They're right in the thick of the AFC South race, and looking at the Texans, they're on the down. They're going down. They're not coming back up. You got Brock Osweiler. That it isn't a surprise that he was a big free agency mistake this past offseason, and you got to think he's only a few more sacks and a strip fumble away from being benched for the rest of the year. So looking at it this way, Andrew Luck is back. The offense is going. They're moving. They're gelling. They're doing what they got to do. The defense isn't anything spectacular, but that's nothing new. The offense is completely carrying that team and doing just enough to keep them in games competitively when needed. And there's really not much to say other than the Texans' quarterback situation is a disappointment, and it's just hurting the whole team in general, and it definitely doesn't help that J.J. Watt's hurt. We both have the Colts winning. Next up, we got what is probably going to be a very disappointing game in the San Diego Chargers at Carolina Panthers, and it's easy to say both of these teams are easily better than their record. I know I've been saying that a lot this edition of the podcast, but you got a San Diego Chargers team who is very, very, very hurt, and they're still sporting a 5-7 record. They could easily end 9-7, but you could say the same for the Panthers ending 8-8. Both teams haven't been themselves really this season. But I really think this is going to be an ugly game. It could have a lot of turnovers, ugly defense, and a lot of missed opportunities. Dom has San Diego winning, most likely because he's a San Diego fan. I have Carolina winning because I can't really tell you. Both, it's really just a throw up. I saw it as a game going either way. He picked San Diego, so I'm going against Carolina, maybe just to get a game advantage on him in our standings. That's it. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. 4-7-1. Wow, I didn't think they were that bad. Woo. At the Cleveland Browns. And do I really got to say anything? Like, I guess I do. They got a 4-7-1 record. Jesus. Me and Don both have the Bengals winning this game. I'm a firm believer that the Browns will now be forever known as the team to go 0-16. It won't be the Detroit Lions that are remembered for it, which is kind of more suiting because the Browns have been hot garbage for a while now. So that's all I'm really going to say. I think they're going to go 0-16 and lose this game. Next up, we got a divisional matchup with the Chicago Bears at the Detroit Lions. And who would have guessed that the Lions were leading the NFC North at 8-4 in Week 14? No one, unless you were a very optimistic Lions fan. But here's the question. Are they going to be able to beat the Bears in a divisional showdown with the Vikings and Packers both behind them at a 6-6 record? Yeah, me and Don both think they will because have you watched Chicago? It's an absolutely winnable game for them. While the Bears can't completely be overlooked, especially coming from a Giants fan where we almost lost to them, it's a rivalry game. They have an opportunity to be the spoilers to a season, sort of. But can't see that defense slowing down Matt Stafford and that offense. So they're both going to be finding their own ways to get this win, but I think the Lions continue their winning streak and improve to 9-4. Next up, we got the Jets at the Niners, and this is another game that could go either way. But we both have the Jets winning this game. There's just some bad matchups this week, man. I really don't know what to say about this. They're both bad teams, and I don't really know what good to pick away from either of them. So really, it's just I like the Jets a little bit more, being from New York. They have a better record. I don't know. Whatever you want to say it is, it's a stupid reason why I have the Jets in this game. Next up, we have a good matchup when the New Orleans Saints go marching into Tampa Bay. All right, they're not marching in. All right, Tampa Bay is winning this game. Me and Dom both think so, and this is another team that I thought was going to be a competitive team in the beginning of the year. Maybe not win the NFC South, but definitely a competitive team. The Bucs are 7-5. The Saints are 5-7, and with they lost this week, they are completely eliminated from the playoff race. And that's exactly what me and Dom expect to happen. The Buccaneers offense is making plays, not so many mistakes. Mike Evans is embarrassing defenses across the league weekly. And like the Steelers, the defense is doing the whole bend, don't break. So it's helping the Buccaneers win, especially with the postseason coming in close. So I do expect it to be a good game. I expect it to be close. It could be a high-scoring affair. Maybe both teams score plus 30. Because both teams have been finding the end zone. So it should be a good game. Tune in, even if you're not a fan of either of these teams, really. Or don't. I really don't care what you do. But Tampa Bay is going to come out on top in this one. Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Los Angeles Rams. And sorry, LA, there's no chance for you guys here. Even though the Falcons just lost a nail-biter, that was a whack game, let's say that, against the Chiefs. They're still a good team. They're still going to be out on top against a poor Los Angeles team right now, no matter whether it's Chase Keenum or Jared Goff taking snaps for you guys. I'm sorry, but it's just been a train wreck of a season for you guys out there in LA. The Falcons are looking strong as the postseason closes in on us. And they are battling the Bucs really for the first place spot of the South. So expect a big win from the Falcons this week, as both me and Dom have the Falcons winning this game to try to keep toe-to-toe with the Buccaneers. They'll need it, especially since I have the Bucs winning this week as well. Next up, we got Seattle at Green Bay, and we are expecting snow, I believe, in this game. So you would think the home field advantage and the weather would give the advantage to the Green Bay Packers, but I don't have it going that way. Neither does Dom. While the Packers are on a winning streak, it is hard to get behind them, especially with the down year that Aaron Rodgers is having. Yes, Seattle lost Earl Thomas, but that defense is still near elite status, and Russell Wilson is being the star player that he's paid to be right now. So while I do think it's going to be a very good game, I do expect mistakes, but at the end of the day, I do expect Seattle to come out on top and get their 9th win of the season. Now it's time for the game that I've been waiting to talk about all week. We got the Dallas Cowboys traveling to New Jersey. Yeah, New Jersey, to take on the New York Giants. I always have the Giants no matter what. Dom has the Dallas Cowboys because he's a Dak Prescott fan right now. Plus, they're the best team in the NFC. But you got to remember that team has one loss, and it is to the boys in blue. And after a poor week by the Giants team in whole, minus really the defense. Let me recap last week. I'm sorry, but I got to. That defense gave the offense plenty of opportunities to get in that game and make it close and stay close the whole game, no matter the mistakes that were being made. The refs being the fucking refs that they are, didn't help the cause either. But as a Giants fan, you know that Eli's going to have those kind of games, and you kind of just got to let it have him, even though it's very frustrating. Because usually he has that kind of game, and he comes back and makes the whole NFL and everyone who talks shit about him pay for it. So Giants fans, take a word of advice from the Packers and relax. We're 8-4. We're 4 weeks out of the playoffs. JPP, yeah, he went down. But we beat this Dallas Cowboys team week 1, and while it might be week 14 now, I still have confidence that we're going to come out on top. Eli's going to bounce back. Odell's going to dominate. We've had 2 Apple turnovers now. Yeah, I've been waiting all year to say that. Our time's coming. We're not out of the playoff race yet. Dallas is just our team in the way right now. Let's knock them down to reality. They've played a easy schedule, and they're an overhyped team. I think the Giants have what it takes to knock them a bit down to reality. And to wrap it all up, a few years ago, this game would have been a primetime game. It is a primetime game. I'm sorry. It would have been a game you would expect the AFC Championship game to be. Maybe a divisional round, depending on how the seeding went. But we had the Baltimore Ravens at the New England Patriots. And the Ravens, an underrated team. I said that earlier. But when you're going up against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, it's hard to go against that. That being said, Tom Brady and the Patriots are going to win this game. Me and Dom both have them winning this game. And it's simply because that team always seems ready to win. So, really, I don't care. That run defense can be top. I'm pretty sure it is the top run defense in the league. Doesn't matter. Tom Brady can have nobodies at receiver, and he's still going to make it work. That defense always seems prepared. I would never say they're like a top-tier defense, but they're always prepared to make the stop and make do what they have to do to win the game, help the offense out a little bit. So me and Dom both have New England going in and out of a Monday Night Football game winning. So with that being said, that wraps up the Week 14 edition of the D&M Show. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let us know what you think of our picks. Maybe leave some of your picks down in the comments area. As we close in on the end of the season, we will be doing a post-season podcast too. Not so sure what we will do after the playoffs are over, and it's off season. We'll probably take a break for the 3 months that nothing really goes on. But as the off season starts, we'll probably pick back up. Who knows? Only way to know is to stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button. That way, you can stay up to date on whatever it is we end up doing. Watch out for some more bangers like that soda challenge that came out a few days ago. And peace!